And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. Luke 1:10. The words, the whole multitude of the people, are not an account of physical bodies gathered in a temple, but an unveiling of the many voices within you, all the scattered states of desire and remembrance that yearn for union with the One. Praying without speaks of those voices dwelling outside the curtain of your waking mind, beseeching the creative power that lies hidden in the sacred chamber of imagination. And what is this time of incense? It is that appointed hour when your assumption rises like smoke, perfuming every corner of consciousness. Incense is neither a material fragrance nor a ritual, but the very breath of your faith ascending toward the unseen. At that moment, when you give feeling to what you desire and breathe it forth, every latent facet of your being prays in one accord. Notice, it does not say they prayed within, for the inner sanctuary is already alive with vision. It is when you step outside your doubts, outside the paralysis of human reasoning, that you offer this divine fragrance. The time of incense is the precise instant you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the flowering of your secret plan that God has buried in you. Thus, the scripture bids you recognize each breath you draw as a sacrament, each fleeting image as a promise ripening. The multitude is your own soul's cast of characters, each waiting its appointed hour. When you gift them with the sweet smoke of faith, when you persist in the assumption, they converge, and what was once 1,000 discordant prayers becomes the single triumphant shout of creation. It is done. In this hidden altar, you are both priest and offering, imagination and its own fulfillment. Psychological reading. In this brief scene, the whole multitude of the people represents the many voices and currents in your own mind, fears, hopes, doubts, ambitions, all clamoring outward, praying without. The time of incense marks a threshold in consciousness, a moment when the usual bustle quiets and your inner attention naturally turns inward. Psychologically, the verse points to the split between outer petitioning and the silent, potent prayer rising from within. Metaphysical mechanics, incense in ancient ritual symbolized offerings of thought and feeling carried upward. Here your focused desire, once stilled in the inner sanctuary, becomes that fragrant cloud drawing its own fulfillment. In other words, concentrated imagination and feeling at the appointed hour function as a mystical magnet, weaving the unseen pattern that materializes as your experience. Empowerment key. Hidden in this verse is the divine power of inner attention. You are both priest and altar, the one who makes the offering, your sustained assumption, and the very ground on which it rests. This means you possess the creative agency to lift any genuine desire into the formless realm, confident that it will return clothed in form. Practical bridge. Identify your personal hour of incense, the moments when the outer world is least intrusive, morning stillness, twilight calm. In that space, 1. Sit quietly and breathe deeply, gathering your scattered thoughts. 2. Choose a single, heartfelt desire and feel it as already complete. 3. Hold that feeling steadily for several minutes as if you were inhaling its reality. 4. Release it into the silence, your internal incense rising. Resist the pull of external chatter, news, doubts, habitual worries, and instead tend your inner flame. Over time, this disciplined offering will harden into fact. The multitude of circumstances will realign, responding not to frantic outer pleas, but to the serene, fragrant cloud you have consecrated within. In this practice, you awaken to your own divine nature and find that every answered prayer begins with the silent offering of imagination.